Uh, First of all, did you all know that Dwight Eisenhower worked for Doug MacArthur for a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And Doug said he was the best clerk he ever had. Also, two announcements. I don't know how many of you knew that recently I turned 65.
Oh, you're getting old.
And, yeah, and I wanted to make sure you were all aware of two senior bennies that are available here that I didn't really know about. Number one, you go to the village hall and you fill out a piece of paper and they'll lower your sewer bill. Water and sewer bill goes down when you're 65.
That's because your kidneys don't work very well.
The other one is you get a senior discount on your real estate taxes. All you have to do is go to the township office and fill out a form, and they're going to knock about $200-300 off your real estate bill.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to hold my breath for that.
John, you trying to be a knot in my panties?
No, no, no. I don't live in the rich community.
Anyhow, just by virtue of getting older, you can spend a little less money. And I wanted you all to be aware of that. Anyhow, on to our speakers. Dave Madden is here. Dave is a resident of Austria. And at some point in his past, to raise some money for charity, he walked from Canada to Key West, Florida.
Wow.
Which not many of us have ever done. And so Dave is here now to tell us more about his venture. Dave Madden.
Thanks, John. You'll notice the lack of the Austrian accent. I've only been living in Austria for the past 2 months, originally from Ridgewood, New Jersey. But my father and grandfather are natives of Libertyville. And my grandfather, in fact, was born in a log cabin probably about a couple miles away from here and set all sorts of track records at Libertyville High School back in the 1930s. So I've got roots out here, and that's one of the reasons that I'm out here, is to see my grandfather, who's now at an independent living community down in LaGrange. But also I'm doing quite a bit of family tree research at the moment in advance of his 90th birthday in November. And so I'm doing that to put together a book on our family, and I'll be going off to the archives this afternoon to have a look there. But more importantly, this past year, a friend of mine was hurt in Iraq, a college roommate, and thankfully none of his vital organs were affected, but he did lose a foot in the process. And I had already been planning on doing this hike, primarily along the Appalachian Trail, but then I thought, what the heck, why not just do the whole country? So I had been planning this hike ways in advance, and I thought that it would be great if I could find a veterans charity to support while doing this. And after a little bit of searching, I came upon the Fisher House Foundation, which is a great charity serving veterans and their families. And it's kind of like the Ronald McDonald House. They currently have about 38 houses at military bases and hospitals around the country, where the families of wounded service members can stay for free. And this way, of course, the family members can be there during the recovery process, which is something that is very important for their morale and keeping their spirits up. And Fisher House Foundation was set up back in the 1980s by the Fisher family, and is still run today with their oversight, but it's also a public-private partnership to a certain extent. They do get some support from the U.S. government, but primarily they do rely on donations, and they do very little active fundraising of their own. Their whole mission is to kind of spread what they do by word of mouth and keep overhead costs as low as possible, so that for every dollar that they receive, 98 cents out of that goes directly to support their mission. And that was yet another reason why it was attractive for me to support them during my hike. And pretty much when I went through towns and cities along the way, I would hand out flyers with a link to my website that people can donate from. And also got a fair amount of press coverage, and ended up raising close to $25,000 so far. I'm still doing a little bit of fundraising for them. And I had a lot of fun stories along the trip, and one of the ways in which I'm continuing to do some fundraising, hopefully at least, is I'm writing a book right now about my adventure. And I'm doing that over in Austria, but Viennese coffee houses are probably one of the best places in the world to write a